guys. In my last Ask Amy Q&A premiere chat, I asked you guys, is there a certain video you'd want me to put out that would be beneficial to you guys at this time? And I got two requests. One was for a video meditation on surrender, and I just put that one out. It just says meditation in all caps, and then something about letting go and being yourself. That's the one. And then somebody else asked about friendships, if I could do a video on friendships. So, and she felt like it's very hard to find good friends nowadays. And I think this happens a lot as we mature and we do become more authentic. The friends just start to go to the wayside. But I think at this level, when you're developing like that and you're leveling up in life, it's about quality and not quantity. So you may have one friend or you may have two friends, but you're like in that video, the Great Awakening update for December, you might want to check that out because it talks about if you're in isolation, you're a chosen one. So the objective is to really have you go within in the kingdom of God and be present in the moment, and to not have those friendships or other things that could distract you. So it's getting down to the bare basics. But I did make a list of things to mention about friendships. Like how you can, for those of you who are kind of like, I can't put a finger on it, but I'm not sure whether I should keep this friend or not. So I just wrote these different things down. First of all, when first getting to know somebody, you can't tell whether they're a good long-term potential or not. So these are some things to kind of vet that. For one, don't accept any gifts. A lot of people are more nefarious than you realize, and some of them are even a part of the satanic cults and stuff like that. I know that sounds totally crazy, but in our world, there's just so much. There is a podcast. I'll put the confirmation underneath this video if you want to check it out. It's called Firmamental Podcast, that talks about just how deeply ingrained it is, and they could be your neighbors. So, and I've known, including myself, I've had clients send me something like, oh, could you check this out and maybe talking about it on your channel if you like it, and that's completely cursed me. And I had to look everywhere throughout my house, like, what is it? I know it's an object. It's some kind of an object. What have I gotten recently? And then I've tracked it and traced it down, even using professionals to try to find whatever it was, and they couldn't do it. And I finally was like, I figured it out. I found it out, and I put it out in the garage, and everything cleared up. So of course I had to throw it away. So, and that was a client that sent me a gift. But so not all gifts are gifts. And I do know some divine feminine, some of you, we've done private remote sessions, and you've asked about a certain person and they've given you things. And, I can't tell you how many times when you guys have a lot of activity in your home or things are going bad or whatever, it's from somebody having given you something. So don't accept any gifts. Or if you do, like, throw it away or put it in the garage temporarily until you figure out, or clear it energetically, do something, but don't just accept a gift from somebody. Sometimes accepting a gift too is like inviting the demons in. So you got to be real, real careful. Okay. Don't give them too much information right off the bat. So don't just be like, open book, here's my whole life, I'll tell you everything. Because if they turn out to be a nefarious person or somebody who's just not mature enough or whatever, they're going to have a bunch of information to then share with everybody, or to threaten you with, or to blackmail you with, or whatever it is. If you live in the truth, you don't really have to worry about blackmail, because you can just be like, go ahead and say it to everybody, because everybody already knows. There's nothing you can hold over me. So ideally you want to have integrity in everything that you do. So there are no secrets that they can hold over you. But just keep that in mind. You don't want them to play you or use you according to that information that they found out about you. Now, this could apply to dating too. This could apply to a new guy in your life or a new girl in your life. But so just hold back and find, you're going to go through kind of a bit of a balancing act with the person for a little while until you feel like you can open up and trust them. See how they respond when you have problems. So when you develop a friendship with somebody, you're going to eventually say, hey, I went through this thing today and it was really tough, or I'm really worried about this or that that's going on in my life. Or, you might open up to the person, see what they do with that information. How do they show support to you? And does it actually feel good? Or do they like belittle you, or do they say like, hey, I got it, I know what I'm doing, you're silly or stupid for thinking that way, so do it the way that I'm saying. Hey, just trust me because I know what I'm talking about. You gotta, whatever you're thinking over there is kind of whatever. Do what I'm saying. Just do what I'm saying. I know better than you do. Any of that. Or if they act like you're a teenager now, you know better than to do that thing. Anything, if it doesn't feel good to you, take that into consideration, obviously. If they however they offer support, it actually needs to feel like support. It needs to feel good to you. You need to feel like, oh, thank God. If you're going to keep a friend around, it's got to feel really, really good to you. It's got to feel like it's adding benefit to your life, not making you feel bad about anything. Okay. Do they listen? Do they truly listen? Like, do they want to get to know you better, and what makes you tick? Like without feeling intrusive, but being like, okay, so what makes you think that? Like, instead of jumping to conclusions or judgments about you, asking questions. So why would you think that? What made you do that? So just so that I can understand you better, let me repeat this back and see if that's what you meant when you said that. Like, really hashing it out with them. Do they hash it out with you? Do you hash it out with them to where you actually genuinely try to understand each other better, and so that you can support each other properly? And do they really listen, or do they try to cut you off? Do they listen at a deeper level? Because some people, like, they'll say something superficial or people pleasing, and you find out that every message you give them or every talk that you have, they come back with the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. They may as well just like be a template that, insert this response if they say that, insert that response. So you want a genuine friendship where they actually listen to what you're saying deeply. They know where you're at in life. They consider your history and your past. They see the track record or whatever, and they take that into consideration before just responding with something like affirmative, like, oh, you handled that perfectly. Instead they would be like, well, considering your past and the things that you've been through, I think that you should consider this, that, and the other thing as well. I think you handled it really well, but there is an element of your insecurity in there from when you were a kid and that thing happened to you. Do you remember that? So maybe there's an opportunity in this that can, maybe you can go back and revisit it, or maybe you could do a Byron Katie on it. Maybe this Byron Katie, try this thought, see what happens. Like, do they actually seem to be investing in you and your growth and your personal growth? And do they take you to a deeper level than just like superficially just agreeing to everything that you say and making you feel good about whatever you do? Somebody who will be honest with you and just be like, well, let's reflect on this. Let's really take a look. And I really heard what you said, and I want to, take consideration here, that kind of thing. Do their words match their actions? So you guys might say, oh, that person, she's kind of a backstabber at work. Like, she can't be trusted. She gossips or whatever. And you guys might have that conversation about, yeah, I really don't trust that or whatnot. And then do you go and then catch them having lunch together? Or you talk to her a couple days later and she's just gotten off the phone with her on a 2-hour conversation. Or the next time, that kind of thing. You're like, wow, you just said that she wasn't trustworthy and she was kind of a gossip, and that you weren't gonna, you were gonna kind of keep your distance from her. And now this, it's like, why are you, so do their words match their actions? Are they actually doing what they're talking to you about? Are they actually doing that? Otherwise it could be just lip service, or it could be like something they thought you wanted to hear, just agreeing with you, and then went and did their own thing over here. Because you want somebody to be who they truly are with you, to be authentic with you. Do they keep a balance of give and take? So in some friendships, you'll find that you do all the talking, and you're sharing about your life, and you're sharing your vulnerabilities, and you're talking about how old your kids are and all this. And then the other person's just listening. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've done that. But they just add just a little bit, not much. And then you pull back after like a few weeks or something, and you're like, it kind of feels like I'm doing all the talking, or I know a lot, I've told her a lot about my kids and everything. She knows everything about my kids, but I don't even know if she has kids. Does she have any pets? So you might be like, it's good to pull back and assess sometimes. Is there equal give and take? And you want the vulnerability to be there. Think about how vulnerable you're being with that person. In other words, how authentic are you being with that person, where you say it like it is, and it might be a bit vulnerable because maybe you don't want them to know that I don't know, do you have some kind of bad habit, you drink every night or something like that, right? So, but you trust, you're kind of trying to build trust with the person, and you tell them you're drinking every night, but they never tell you anything like that. So if you're in a good, healthy relationship, somebody will give you something that you can tell is vulnerable or touching, and you should meet them with that same level of vulnerability. You could share a story then on your part, or they could share a story on their part that's like, hey, I acknowledge that was probably really tough to confide in me and tell me that thing. So I'm going to tell you something about my life and about me, that sometimes I do this thing, and I'm not exactly proud of it or whatever. But there's a balance that starts to happen when you appreciate and you respect that person that you're talking to. And so is that happening? Is that balance there? Or is one person spilling everything about their lives and the other person's holding back, just listening to it all, Because then you could also have somebody who could use all that against you too. All right. And let's see. Are they thoughtful? Are they thoughtful? Do they think of you throughout the day, or do they tell you, hey, I know you've been thinking about this thing lately and I looked into it a little bit, or I probably shouldn't bother you at this time because I know that you're going to be making a video about then, and you're like, whoa, wow, I can't believe they remembered that. I just mentioned briefly that I make a video and Ask Amy video every Monday morning, and here they are saying, wow, they're not even going to contact me until like Monday night or something because they know I made a video that morning. Something like that, to where you're just like, wow, they really put some thought into that, like when they called or when they texted, or they text you and say, hey, I know that you wanted to remember to say this in the Ask Amy. So did you mention that? Like, here's a text message to remind you, like something helpful and thoughtful like that, to be supportive of you. Do they do those types of things? And are they respectful? Respect in a way is like careful. Like, are they careful? Or do they just blah, 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 say whatever they want to, and they don't care how it lands on you? You don't want that. um, do they give you the benefit of the doubt and ask questions before assuming? Okay, we already covered that. Did they sound like they're, do they sound like they're telling you what to do, like you're silly or dumb and they're the smart ones? Are you equal in being vulnerable? Okay, we did that. How do they act when you're happy? That's another thing. Are they genuinely happy when you're happy for you? Or do you feel a sense of, oh, that's really great. I wish I was having a good day, grr. Or do you actually feel like they start asking questions? Like you share something cool with them and they go, oh my gosh, tell me more about that. What's the history on that? Why did that come to be? Or why was that so important to you? Or what, like they want to know more information about what that happy thing is. Like, oh my gosh, really? Tell me more. Somebody who's really happy for you is going to want to, because they want to get even more happy. They want to know the background on it. They want to know the history. They want to know, they want to, because the reason you're so happy is because of all the history and everything, It's like, I've struggled for so long to get this perfect job and I finally got the job. Well, if you just got this really fantastic job, there's a certain level of happy. But if you know the history, I've been working on this for 3 years. I've been starving for 3 years, whatever it is, then they can be, oh my gosh, I see why this is so exciting for you. We need to go out and celebrate this. We need to do something special, That's a good friend when they, do that. I'm talking about like really narrowing it down to what you got to look for if you want a good long-term solid friend. Okay. People pleasing. Gotta watch out for that people pleasing. The only reason you have to really watch out for that people pleasing is because if somebody won't tell you the negative stuff, if they won't have an uncomfortable conversation to kind of clear something up, then what you've got is something totally superficial that could stab you in the back. You've got somebody who could just turn on you and do black magic on you. You got somebody who could potentially like make whatever you've told them look really bad, So people pleasers cannot be trusted. They can be trusted to a certain degree if they open up to you, if they will share things with you, if they will tell you, they may tell you that, I don't like that, but that's just trying to control you. I don't like that you did that. That's control. Because they're trying to get you to stop it. They want to slap your hand and tell you, no, don't do that. I don't like that. But if they say, I don't like that because it triggers me and I really need to work on this. So what do we do? How do I look at it differently? Or, sharing both like from a very open heart saying, okay, I felt this, you felt that. Let's take a look at each of us trying to look at ourselves and see like what was that? What was that about that just happened kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do they want more, do they want to, oh, okay. When you guys talk on a regular basis and you pull back at all the different conversations, are they coming from a place of empowerment and vulnerability or victimhood and complaining? So that'll tell you something too. What it is basically is, because Steve's love tarot said nobody changes. And I was like, yes, they do. They do. But what's going on, or what he doesn't know, which he acts like the all-knowing one. He's really annoying sometimes. But we all have a pain body. And we all have and that ego is the pain body, and the pain. And if you watch my channel for a while, then you'll know that the pain body and the ego, that's actually the Nefarians. That's black magic being done to you, because we don't actually, who we are as human beings, we don't have negative thoughts. Those are given to us from the outside. So that's one thing that we have to know as a society, or figure out as a society, is how to deal with that once we know that. So, which is a whole other thing, but everybody has an ego. Until you're enlightened, you have an ego and you are triggerable. So flat out, there are going to be things that piss you off or make you want to kill somebody. Like the very worst of it. If you watch Matthew Kahn's video, Respecting the Shadow, that's a really excellent video. So everybody has their shadow side, unless you're enlightened. That's a total caveat. If you're enlightened, you don't have a shadow, you don't have an ego anymore. It's gone. You're just one with God. God's embodying you completely in your vessel, in your body. Okay. But as long as you are just a regular person like the rest of us, as long as you are operating, as this personality, then you are going to have an ego and you're going to get triggered and you're going to behave badly at some point or another. You're going to lose your stuff. You're going to argue with the person that you love. You're going to get defensive. You're going to get angry. You're going to lash out. You're going to be passive aggressive, all the ugly stuff. So, But if you're learning and you're growing and you're doing your healing work, you absolutely change. You guys saw my video. If you saw my video about choosing a karmic over a true love, I'm a perfect example of change. I've changed tremendously through the years. I used to be a divine masculine. Now I'm a divine feminine. I earned that, I earned that because I matured. People do mature. So yes, they do change. But the ego does not, unless you're enlightened. When you enlighten, you drop all that. So, and I've said that like 3 times, but still, I'm just saying, when you are your true, when you are who you truly are, which is enlightened, you don't have any of that. So, and then you're constant change because you're always doing God's will. You're always in the will of God if you're enlightened. And then you can never really pinpoint that you are anything, because you're not stale and stagnant at all. You're fresh new energy all the time, every moment. So you become almost unpredictable. But in a good, peaceful, loving way that where you're in the flow with God and you feel like divinely inspired to just go do. And by the way, if any of you come up with a question for me to do another video on, please put that in the comments below and I'll think about that. Okay. See how I set that boundary though? I didn't say I'll do it. Let me know a video you would want me to make and I'll do it. I said, I'll think about it. I'll contemplate it. You know why? Because I'm honest and I'm authentic. You know what I'm saying? I'm proving a point right now too, because people pleasers, they're used to saying, yeah, they're making promises they're not going to fulfill. So having integrity means that you actually follow through with what you're going to say. So you take what you say careful. You're careful about what you say. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. Okay, so here are some things to kind of look for too, or to aim for, I guess, is that you help each other to see things differently than you normally would. Hey, did you consider this perspective? I looked at the way that you responded to that situation and I thought, you know what? Or like, say you have a problem. I can't wrap my head around this. I don't get it. And your friend says, let me stand back a minute and take a look at it. Yeah, I could see where you're coming from. Have you ever thought that maybe, you know what, you know how you could look at it? You could look at it like you're going through this to teach people, or you're going through this from this perspective, but pretend that you're the other person. Maybe if you look at it from the other person's point of view, maybe you'll, see it from a different, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Does your friend do that? Help you to see things differently, help you to wrap your head around it so you get it on a deeper level and things like that. If they ask you to help or remind them of something, let's see, ask them to help, then you note it and set a timer if needed in order to help. So let's say somebody just mentions to you, oh, on my yoga days, I always forget to do this, that, or the other thing. Set a note in your own phone to remind you, or put it on the fridge, or remind yourself to remind your friend. Do they do that? Does your friend do that? Or do you do that? This is also a good check on what a good friend you might be, but it's also really cool when your friend will do that, when your friend will remind you of things that you forget because you struggle with it. So they're really listening to you. They're really listening to the things that trip you up and make you struggle, and they actively try to help with that. They support you with your goals, and you let them know how best to do that. They don't just jump in and try to control the situation. They just say, okay, so you're trying to achieve this in 30 days. What do you want me to do to support you? How can I best support you? Have that kind of conversation and that kind of support. Don't just assume you know how to support them. Well, okay, then I'm going to nag you every day. And every day I'm going to tell you that you better do this, that, or the other thing. Don't jump in and do that. Ask, does that mean that you want me to stay on you all the time about that? Do you want to check in every week and talk about it? Would you prefer that you bring it to me and then I kind of give you like a check-in? Or like, how do you see this playing out? How do you see me being there for you best? They don't want credit for anything they help you with. So Well, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory, but some people, they'll be like, well, I helped you with this, so you owe me this, or I want to be acknowledged for having helped you with that or whatever. Then you know that they did it with ill intention, that they did it for that thing, whatever that thing was that they have over you. So a good friend will help you however they possibly can, and they'll just give, 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 and they're not going to expect anything in return, except reciprocation eventually. That you will do the same for them. If they're working on some kind of project or something and they need help, you're going to give, 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 give it. No, you don't have to put me in the credits. No, you don't have to have me on there. No, you don't have to, that kind of thing. Do they freely give? Um, Even if they have traits that bother other people, you love that about them. That's another trait of a really good friend. You see their faults and you may even make fun of them and have fun with it, but you think it's sweet or cute or, it's endearing almost when you have a good friend. That both people feel the same way about that person because their good qualities way outweigh the bad. So those bad things turn into cute things, it's like, it's cute that she grinds her teeth, or it's cute that, whatever. You don't talk negatively about each other unless, like, to other people, unless you're going to someone for constructive advice from a neutral party and in the effort to return to your friend to heal it. So if you're going to talk to about your friend to somebody, you might decide that you have another friend that you can confide in and say, I've been having this trouble with communication with my friend, blah, blah, blah. And that person's going to be totally neutral and just be like unbiased and give you some really good advice. Then that's a good idea. But you don't go to a friend just to complain, just to say, oh man, this thing is just a headache with this person or whatever. Not to your really good friend. You're not going to do that. Because everything that you do, you almost want to act like your friend is there witnessing and watching it, like a fly on the wall. Would your friend be okay with you saying what you just said to that other person? Otherwise, don't say it. Don't do that, Um, you help each other heal your deepest wounds and see how it wasn't your fault. So your good friend will be like, they'll listen to your story and you'll say, oh, this traumatizing thing happened in the past, and you might cry and you might have a hard time getting over it. And they're going to really be patient. They're going to listen, and they may have to listen to it 100 times. They may have to this again, but they're going to do it. And they're going to be like, how do we help you have a breakthrough with this? How do we help you really get over this thing? How do we, I used an analogy of a hole in the wall. You might want to watch in the Ask Amy Q&A. Wait, no, it was in the Daily Boosters video. But it'll keep coming up until it really heals. So your really good friend is going to help you to heal those things so they don't come up anymore, or so that, just be there for you unconditionally with those things. And it's important that you see all the tricks of the ego and the dark side too, trying to make you feel guilty or trying to make you feel bad or trying to make you feel like it was your fault. They'll point that out. You ask for what you need and remind them if needed. Okay. Their problems are yours. You work as a team to solve it. Yeah. So you don't say, oh, that's your problem. Too bad you're suffering from that. Or, treat it as just as important as if you had that very problem yourself, and strive to help them resolve it or do whatever you can to help fix it. Yeah, you'll help each other grow into the best versions of yourselves. You support their hobbies and interests, even if you don't like that stuff yourself. Like somebody could be totally into golfing or something like that, and you're just you could care less about golf. You'll still be like, hey, there's a golf program. I just saw there's a golf program on blah, blah. Or, hey, did you notice that there's a new channel of golf? Or, you'll actually encourage it, even though you don't even care. You don't even like golf. You may even despise it. Oh, golf, but you'll still totally encourage your friend in it. You can look and act your ugliest and they don't judge you. So, I don't have to expand on that one. They'll match you where you're at and offer assistance if needed instead of judgment. No matter how far you are or how often you talk, you don't question the friendship and you pick up right where you left off. You show your genuine appreciation for each other regularly, but won't say it unless you really mean it. So you don't show this much genuine and heartfelt appreciation to just anyone. So you're not just flattering, you're actually truly appreciating that person for who they are. I really love that you this, that, and the other thing. I don't know what I'd do without you. Like really genuinely appreciate and show gratitude towards your friend for who they are. And you don't just go around and act like that with everybody. It's like that I love you can be thrown at you. Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you, Somehow you're a really good friend. It's like, I love you. So it means more. It means more. You go above and beyond to help them. You're truly considering the other person with their advice because they know you and your blind spots. So you're not going to get defensive. If your friend says, hey, I don't know, maybe you should stop dating, or maybe you should stop sleeping around. And if they're defensive with you and that, well, I don't know, that kind of thing, that's like you should be able to, or you will, what your friend advises for you to do weighs heavier on you. And you're like, you know what? They love me. I'm going to listen to that piece of advice. I know they truly care about me and they know me better than I do sometimes. Maybe I should stop dating. Maybe I should not sleep around and just see what happens for 30 days, Whereas if they were anybody else, they would just get shrugged off and you just roll your eyes and be like, whatever, and have the attitude or whatever. But if you have a really good friend that you really trust, then you're gonna have that rapport to where if they offer you advice, you're gonna listen to it and at least take it seriously. You think of thoughtful things that you can do for them throughout the day. They don't necessarily anticipate to make them feel good. You have their back. Nothing can come between you. Somebody could say bad stuff about you and they'd be like, nah, I'm going to go and I'm going to ask her myself. Or, that kind of thing. Like not doubting you, not doubting you. They are present, attentive, and have distractions aside or are respectful if there are distractions. So they might be talking to you on Zoom or something and they got their phone here and they got something going on. You would each be like, you know what, I just got distracted. Let me set that apart. I'm sorry. What happened was, this text came across and I was just thinking about work for just a second. Sorry. Or here, let me just take my phone and put it on airplane mode and let me set it across the room because I want you to have my undivided attention. Setting good boundaries and things with distractions and just being respectful of each other's time. You're not going to be all playing a video game or texting people back or kind of halfway ignoring them. Oh, what did you say? Can you repeat that? Although that does happen, but at least like with a good friend, you're like totally, you catch yourself and you're just like, I'm so sorry. I just wasn't paying attention for a second. Because that happens, but okay. Conversations are uplifting, healing, empowering, and constructive. So ask yourself that about your friendship with whoever you're questioning right now. Is it uplifting? Is it healing? Is it empowering? And is it constructive? Is it helpful? There is no belittling. You respect and care for each other's feelings. They ask questions on how to best support you instead of assuming. Okay. In a disagreement, they hold the space and stay patient, striving to understand. If either are negative and they act out on you, you don't take it personally and you strive to help the other figure it out, the root cause of what's going on with grace and understanding, or you do your best to do that. We're not always going to do all this stuff all the time, but this is like a really good indicator that you've got an amazing friend. I have examples sometimes that I share in the Ask Amy Q&A. Sometimes I'll tell you some of the things that happen with me too. They listen and take turns rather than just cutting off or apologizing if they do and explain. You don't lose yourself. You respect each other's boundaries without hurting each other's feelings. So, one of you might be like, have a lot of homework to do, and you're putting it off and putting it off, and you're talking to your friend, you're just like, I would rather talk to my friend than do my homework, right? So you get on with your friend, but then you end up being really grumpy with your friend um, because you're upset that you're not doing your homework. So you start taking it out on your friend, and you start having fights with your friends and stuff, and you'll just be like, well, hurry up with what you're saying. Like, you're saying all this stuff, but you're not like getting to the point, and you're just like getting aggravated or irritated. But it's good to like sit back and reflect and go, wait, I know what's going on. I put them as a priority above what I had to get done. So next time, I think what I'll do is tell my friend, like, I've got a bunch of homework to do, and I would rather talk to you, but I really want to have all this stuff off my chest so that when I talk to you, I'm like relaxed and I'm not trying to pressure you to hurry up or whatever. You laugh like kids together. You don't get jealous of each other. If they're celebrating, you celebrate too. It doesn't take away from you at all. And if you become jealous or anything like that, you can be open with each other, and you're going to reflect on where that's coming from and kind of heal those wounds. Even if you're upset about something, you're genuinely happy for the other person if they're super happy. That's another good indicator. If you don't have a friend or friends like this now, don't, um, this is going to give you an idea on what to pray for or what to imagine that you've got. And just remember that it's better to be alone than to be wrapped up in a bunch of drama or get duped by a false friend, that really isn't your friend. So these are just some things to contemplate and think about in your friendships. And I hope this was helpful, at least one thing, maybe all of it, who knows? But things to definitely like reflect on. Maybe it'll make you a better friend to your friends you've already got. Maybe your friend is the good one and you're the one who kind of sucks as a friend. Or the other way around, whatever. But I just hope that it helps you guys somehow in some way. So have yourselves a beautiful day. And to the person who ordered this, I hope that helped as well, especially. So yeah, have a great day and hope you guys are enjoying the holidays. Sending much love to you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.